What's going on? It's Astronaut H, and this is the What More Do You Want Network. Now, in this video, I will be discussing NBA trade news or NBA trade rumors or whatever you want to say in the Kevin Durant saga as we get closer to the Phoenix Suns possibly trading Kevin Durant. It looks like there are three destinations that are inquiring, or should I say, front of the line, so to speak, when it comes to acquiring Kevin Durant. One team being the Houston Rockets, another team being the Miami Heat, and also the San Antonio Spurs. So to put it bluntly, right? We know Kevin Durant hasn't had the best track record with his last two teams, that being one, the Brooklyn Nets, and two, the Phoenix Suns, right? The Phoenix Suns want to cut ties with Kevin Durant after him spending the last few seasons with them, and things did not turn out how they wanted them to be. This is a Phoenix Suns team that we know wanted to be able to compete for championships with Durant and also Devin Booker, but that did not come to pass just due to the fact that I don't think their roster was just good enough to be able to compete. But now you look at Durant and you look at where he's at in his career, and you can honestly say he's not, 40, but he's not 20. He's right there on the cusp of, okay, is he out of his prime? This is a player that we know at the end of the day can get buckets. Now, what teams, the three teams that I did name, what team is going to be able to put the best package together trade-wise to acquire Durant? And I looked over the list of the teams, one being the Houston Rockets, and I said to myself, what would Houston have to give up to acquire a Kevin Durant? Because they have the young talent. We know that. They have the guys like Jalen Green. They have guys like Alperen Sengun. So we know that's the starting pieces for the Houston Rockets as far as what their future holds. Now, will they be willing to trade a piece like... I think Sengun is untouchable. So would they be willing to trade a piece like a Jabari? Would they be willing to trade like a Amen Thompson? Or I said to myself, right, when I look at this team, this Houston Rockets team with Durant and Ime Udoka and things like that, what would that team look like? Because you acquire a Durant to go with Fred VanVleet and things like that. What in the realms of the Western Conference, because we know the Houston Rockets were a really good team a season ago, made the playoffs, but they get bounced out. And if you acquire Durant, does that make you a championship level contender? Because that's what I feel like. Any team that trades for Durant, that's ultimately what you're saying. You want to be able to compete for championships. No matter how long Durant chooses to, stay long term, because Durant being 36, it will have to be a long term situation, at least for the next 3 to 4 years, unless it's a 2 year, and the other two on a player option or whatever. But I think the Houston Rockets should push the button, so to speak. I think they should move to the front of the line and not allow any other team to make that push. But let's talk about the San Antonio Spurs for a second. Victor Wembanyama is there. We know what he's capable of. I mean, in my opinion, is going to be one of the better breakout stars this season when he gets, I believe he's going to bounce back from the issue he was dealing with the deep vein thrombosis last season. The blood clot situation. And I think he's going to have another great year. So you could add that with a De'Aaron Fox, and you add Kevin Durant to that. Now, I'm not saying championship, but man, oh man, would they be fun to watch. Those three guys together would be great. But for the Spurs, they would have to give up, guys like Keldon Johnson. they may have to give up a Devin Vassell. They may have to part ways with, guys like Harrison Barnes. Like, it's going to be interesting to see what a team like San Antonio would do in that situation as well, because when you added Durant, you're basically leveraging a bulk of your roster, so to speak. Like, you're going to have to give up at least 3 to 4 guys and some draft picks, or maybe teams are saying, well, Kevin Durant may not be worthy of a Paul George type deal with the Clippers and what happened with the Thunder. Also, the Miami Heat, let's just talk about them. We know what Pat Riley wants to do. Pat Riley has always been one to clamor on about Heat culture and Eric Spoelstra and things like that. They want to build, I'm sure they want to build around Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo, because neither one of those guys are number one options. We've seen that in their series versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, where both of those guys were just shell-shocked at times, especially Tyler Hero. So the Heat need a number one option. We know that. Now, if you are the Miami Heat, you're going to have to start with guys like Khalil Ware. You're going to have to start with guys like Andrew Wiggins, maybe a Davion Mitchell, Duncan Robinson. And the Heat have, they have the pieces if the Suns want to dibble and dabble there. But you got to think, if you are the Phoenix Suns, what do you get in return, right? Because even if you part ways with Durant, you still have Beal and Booker. So you don't want to just leverage your entire, sake to say, let's just get back anything. You want to be able to get back something in return that will ultimately lead you to be able to compete, unless you're willing to tear it all down and start from scratch, meaning, trade Beal, trade Booker as well, and then you move on from there. And I could see a situation like that happening for the Phoenix Suns, but this Durant situation is going to come to his head rather sooner rather than later. I think we're going to get a Durant trade before the draft, honestly, because I think the Phoenix Suns are just ready to move on, and I think Durant is as well. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. NBA fans, basketball fans, Kevin Durant fans, or if this is just your first time tuning into the channel, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell to know anytime a video is being uploaded to this channel. It's Astronaut H. This is the What More Do You Want Network, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.